Hey everyone, it's Mojaxx back in the DJ-City UK lab. It's a little over a year since I looked at Roland's first and still flagship DJ controller, the DJ-808. Now we have the slightly more affordable options, the DJ-505 and the DJ-202. Let's get to it. I'll keep this review fairly short as I already covered the IRA technology in some detail when I reviewed the DJ-808 and will link that video down below. What we have here are two all-in-one controllers designed to work with Serato software. Firstly, the 202, which has a street price of around about $300 in the US. That comes with Serato DJ Lite as standard, but also works fine with Serato DJ Pro if you have a license for that, and that's what I did my testing with. Then we have the 505, a mid-range controller which sells for around about $700 and comes with the full Serato DJ Pro. Both units have plastic construction, at least on the outside, but so does the more pricey 808, and that seems to be holding up very well for professional use. They feature capacitive jog wheels which perform really nicely. Accuracy is on point, and there is no side-to-side wobble, which is often an issue with similar designs. Really, my only criticism of the jogs is the lack of any kind of playhead position indication. Some, but not all, competing products do offer that, and it makes scratching and cueing without looking at your laptop screen much more difficult, and combined with a slightly stiff feel, this means these jogs are really great for pitch bending, more so than scratching. The 202 is very compact, definitely the type of controller which could be thrown in a backpack for last minute dashes across town to a gig. It lacks some of the features of its bigger brethren, like RGB pads and any standalone mixer functionality, but that's to be expected at the price. It's fully bus powered, but still puts out a reasonably healthy volume level to both master and headphones, with great sound quality. Speaking of headphones, I was a little disappointed to find only a 1/4-inch socket for those, as having both sizes is always more convenient, but otherwise the queuing options are fine. The unit does have the ability to control 4 decks in the software, despite only having 2 physical channels to work with. This is fairly common on budget Serato DJ controllers, and is a nice bonus if a little impractical. The only audio input is a mic on the rear, which sounds decent enough, although with the 202 being bus powered only, it will naturally work only when hooked up to your computer. Effects control is more along the lines of a regular Serato DJ Lite controller than a Pro one, with 3 buttons to activate effects and 1 level control for the lot. It's still plenty usable with the effects in Pro though, and it can do some interesting stuff with FX stacking. The extra $400 for the 505 does get you a lot of extra features. Besides the dedicated IRA section, which I'll get to in a moment, the unit has a much bigger input and output selection. Master output is on XLRs and RCAs, there's a booth output on jacks, and the mic has a dedicated control on the front, although still only a jack, not an XLR socket. Again, it's a 4-deck, 2-channel controller, but both channels have an RCA input, which can be switched between line and phono. That, combined with the addition of the required power supply, means that you can use the 505 as a standalone mixer, and also for DVS if you have the DVS plugin for Serato DJ. Both the units have fairly small pads, with different combinations of the regular Serato DJ pad modes available. The feel is quite hard and a bit clicky, but still precise. Pitch fader accuracy is okay, neither the 202 or 505 have very long faders, so they're never going to be quite as accurate as full-length ones. I'd love to see Serato implement a ±6% or even 4% pitch range in their software generally to help with that on smaller controllers like these. So we move on to the thing which sets the Roland controllers apart from the crowd, the IRA technology. Both units have a bunch of classic drum kit sounds built in, like the TR-808 and 909, as well as combination kits. You can then sequence those, record in your own patterns, and sync them up to playing decks in Serato DJ. You can also use the slots in Serato's SP8 sampler, allowing you to sequence any sounds that you like. This is a unique proposition in the market for Serato products, and it sounds superb when it's done right. With its dedicated section at the top, the 505 offers a lot more control over the sequencing than the 202. You can tweak the kits, sequences, the sounds themselves very easily, with lots of visual feedback, a lot like with the flagship 808. I was very pleased to find a nudge control on there, which the 808 didn't have initially, but gained later on in a firmware update. That makes it much easier to lock your pattern into the groove of your tracks if the sync button isn't quite doing the job. On the 202, much of the same power is inside there, but the lack of dedicated controls does make using it somewhat harder. Everything is kind of buried under a layer of pad and shift modes. Here you can see me having to go through the manual to try and remember how to use it for this video. It will be easier if the 202 is your only device, but still it takes quite a bit of thinking about to work it properly. It does sound great though, so in the end it's worth persevering with. It's also worth noting that both of these controllers also have a 5-pin MIDI port on the rear, which will allow you to synchronize external hardware with both the Ira stuff that's going on and your Serato DJ in general. That's a unique prospect as well, and one which I think a lot of people will want to explore. So there you go, a good look around the DJ-505 and 202 from Roland. In the end, Serato DJ will always kind of dictate the form factor of controllers. You know, you're always going to have this similar pad layout, similar looping controls, similar effects controls, and that will dictate then the rest of the layout because you've only got so much space left over. So they're always going to end up looking pretty similar to other stuff on the market. Of course, Roland have managed to break through that and do something different because they have their background in, you know, music production, sound design and so on. So we have the Ira stuff in there on both of these. We have the TRS section, which is unique. There's nothing else quite like it on the Serato DJ scene. It's far more intuitive really on the 505 as it is with the 808 because you have all this visual feedback up the top, all these extra controls. It is a little bit opaque on the 202. You know, I've been using the 505 and the 808 for a while and I still couldn't work out how to use the sequencer stuff on the 202 without looking it up. I just couldn't figure it out. And so if I can't do that, I think, you know, 99% of beginners are never going to be touching that sequencer stuff unless they really go out and research it. They're going to have a hard time figuring that out. But as a basic beginner controller, otherwise, the 202 is great. As a portable one to throw in a backpack and do cover gigs and stuff, again, a great bit of hardware. The 505 sits in that kind of mid-range when it comes to controllers, and it sits there very nicely on a kind of par price-wise with its competition out there, and a lot to like about it, especially the TRS stuff. Both of these are well made, they've got good sound quality, and they're a little bit quirky. And in the Serato DJ market, yeah, sometimes quirky is what you need. Thank you for watching today. Do make sure you are subscribed and you've hit that bell icon down below to get notified whenever there's a new video from myself or the rest of the DJcity team. I'll see you soon.